What is going on, guys? RM Games here, back for another video. We're actually in our living room right now and I'm alone, so what better thing to do when you're alone? Of course, make a content. Alright guys, so I'm just gonna start this video by sharing to you what happened to me a couple days back. Just a little background. I go to my work by commuting, by taking the subway or the bus ride to my work, and it usually takes me an hour or so to get there. And a couple of days ago, for some reason, I was just stuck on my phone in my Yugipedia app. And while I was just browsing, and I just randomly decided to sit there and start reading the branded cards along with the Despia cards. And you know what? For some reason, I just got hooked and I just fell in love with the cards, especially the branded cards, how they synergize with each other. I feel like while I was reading is that I just know that the deck has this much ceiling to it. Well, that is my initial thoughts. And then that's when I decided to pick up the deck. And for this video, I'm gonna be sharing to you my Branded Despia deck for the first time on this channel. For the first time in my dueling career, I actually am picking up the branded deck. Just a disclaimer, I've never piloted this deck. I've never tried building this deck. So if you have anything that you want to suggest on how I should build this deck, again, I can stress this more, but this is my first time building this deck, so I have zero knowledge, and I just want to share to you how I want to make the deck. And please do leave in the comments below if you have some suggestions, if you have some tech suggestions that I should consider. And yeah, let's just get into the deck profile. I'm just gonna show you what I'm talking about. Let's go. Alright guys, now we're here. First time ever in this channel. First time ever to touch a branded deck. So please bear with me. Having that said, I'm not really sure how the ratios are best put up. But yeah, we're still learning the deck right now. And come along with me in this journey to mastering this fusion deck, Branded Despia. So first off, we are playing 3 of the best Despia monster, in my opinion, Aluber. So this will get us to our branded fusion or any branded spell trap. And another nifty effect that I really like with Aluber is that when he's in the graveyard, if you have a fusion monster that was destroyed or leaves the field because of your opponent's card effect, Aluber will trigger from the grave, summon itself, and negate one monster your opponent controls. So that is a really good follow-up if your opponent tries to break your board. And of course, we're also running 3 Fallen of Albaz. This is the main monster that we usually use as our fusion material, and this is also a super poly when it's normal summoned or when it's summoned. So a discard will give you a super poly when Fallen of Albaz is on the field. And I really find it funny because you can just actually start with this going second, and that will just throw off your opponent, because his effect to use your opponent's field for a fusion summon is a really good effect, and your opponent must respect that to bait out negates. So 3 Fallen of Albaz. I'm also running 3 of Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. Reading this card, I'm not really sure how this really impacts the combo lines, but in my opinion, I usually use Albion to also start off combos by pitching out your branded spells or traps to the graveyard. If you send from your hand, this can also be a body on the field. And on top of that, while Albion is on the field or in the grave, he's also considered as a Fallen of Albaz, so that is also a material for fusion monsters. Next, I'm running 2 of Blazing Cartesia. This is one of the newer cards, I believe, and having to start with Cartesia alongside with Aluber will protect you from targeting effects on Aluber. So you just want to make sure that Aluber resolves, because If you have Alubra and Cartesia on the field, you can trigger Cartesia to fusion summon quick effect. That way you're using Alubra as one of your materials, and that will dodge targeting effects. Running one Quem, also one of the good utilities, alongside with Kit, Ad Libidium, and Tragedy. So these, I believe, are one of the older cards from the original Despia archetype. They will allow you to recur cards and add cards from the deck as well. So Tragedy here will usually add Ad Libidium to give you more value on your fusion summons. And then for the last monster in the engine is the Mercurier. So this card is a good card to have in your hand, because this can negate monster effects while you control a fusion monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz. And also on top of that, if this card is banished by a card effect, you can add a Fallen of Albaz or one monster that mentions it from your deck. So it's also a searcher. So that is my monster lineup for this build. Again, I'm not entirely sure how the ratios work since I'm still learning the deck, but right now I'm good with that for my main monsters. Now for the spells, I'm running 3 Branded Opening, good card to start with, and it's a quick spell, so you can actually use this during the draw phase or the standby phase for you to dodge main phase interruptions from your opponent. Same with Branded in High Spirits, also a good starter. I wanted to run more than one copy of this card, but right now I just can't find 2 more copies for it, so I'm stuck with one. I have 2 Branded in Red, so this is one of the cards that you end with when you're going first. This will give you a fusion summon during your opponent's turn, and we usually use one of the materials from our grave to have more value with the monster that we're going to summon. Then Branded Lost, also a searcher, but doesn't really do anything by itself, so that's a good one-off to search to. And of course, the best fusion card in the deck, Branded Fusion. It's at 1 right now, but it's not really that bad because we have so many ways to get to the card. And I just hope Konami brings this at least back to 2. 2's not that broken, I believe. And then more of their starters. Lure of Darkness. As you remember, we run like 90% dark monsters in our main monster, so we don't really have a problem in not drawing any dark monsters. Maybe there's a chance of it happening, but it's least likely to happen. So 3 more of the fusion deployment. This we usually use to bring out Cartesia as a good way to start our combo to insulate us from those targeting effects. So that's a good starter. Fusion deployment, which also comes up going second if you want to bring out Fallen of Albaz and throw them off to fusion away the monsters that your opponent controls, which comes up. And one of the main reasons why this deck is actually broken, because we can run 3 super polys in the main, because we don't really care on what materials we use, because most of our extra deck can utilize any of our monsters, especially Fallen of Albaz or the generic dark monsters. So 3 super polymerization, always good going first or second. And then some of the consistency cards. Figuring out this deck, I learned that we want cards to be sent to the grave or banished. So adding these 2, in my opinion, will boost up our consistency in playing this deck. So that's the spell lineup for this deck. And then for the traps, I have 1 Branded Retribution. Aside from its field effect, this card is also used to recur our Branded Fusion from our graveyard. So again, having 1 Branded Fusion is not the best time for this deck, but with Branded Retribution, we have more ways to add it back to our hand. And then the Fusion Duplication. This is one of the cards that we can set from our deck using Thrust, which we'll get into in a while. We don't really get bothered when our Branded Fusion is banished, because there are ways to grab it back from the banished zone. but this can also be used to banish the super polymerization, which is broken. So yeah, one fusion duplication is perfect for this deck. So those are the main engine. Now to the non-engine that I am running for this deck. 3 Mulchermifuolos, of course, self-explanatory. It is Maxi here in the TCG. 3 Droll and Lockbird. Usually good generically for all the decks that's in the format right now. And then for the board breakers, I have 3 Forbidden Droplets. And then for the other spells, you have the Talents and Thrust and the Cold by the Grave. So as you can see, I don't have that much cards for my non-engine, but as I'm learning the deck, I don't really want to draw into cards that doesn't want to make me play. So again, I can't stress this out any further, but I'm still learning the deck. So right now I just want to feel how the ratios and the combo lines should go, and I'm really concerned with the consistency when I'm learning the deck. So right now I'm just good with these for my non-engine cards, and I am running 50 in the main deck. So yeah, that is my main deck. Now to the extra deck. 2 Albion. This will be one of the main fusion monsters that you're gonna start with, alongside with Lubellion the Syrian Dragon. So these 2, when summoned, allows you to perform a fusion summon, which might not make sense at first, but having them on the field will add value on what options you can go with for your fusion summon. And with that mentioned, that will usually lead us to Mirror Jade, the boss monster of this deck. Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon. Everybody knows what Mirror Jade does, and this card is always one of the pieces on your end board. And then for more Despia, Fallen of Albaz and Despia fusions. This is good for time because this will allow you to burn your opponent every time they make a move. This also, let me just get back. This also is one of the good cards going second, because this will allow you to contact fusion your opponent's monster. So imagine starting with Fallen of Albaz. You normal summon Fallen of Albaz. For some reason you're stuck with Fallen of Albaz. You use its effect, they negate it. They think you're done with Fallen of Albaz, and then you just perform a contact fusion. So that we have Rindrum, which is a good piece in our combo, because there's this combo line that I learned where you negate your own Mirror Jade to give you the value of the cost, and at the same time you be able to use Mirror Jade's effect the next turn. So that is a good option. Also, this is a generic extra deck monster negate, so that is a good one. We have also this will allow you to banish or summon a monster from your opponent's graveyard, which we usually use as the summon, because sometimes banishing them will just give your opponent value from it, especially the Malice cards, which is really broken. So Discipline Proskenyan, we use this to steal out opponent's monsters and then swing for game. And then Dragano, so this is our fusion deployment target. We reveal this to bring out Cartesia, and this will also send a level 6 or higher light or dark monster from your extra deck or from your deck. So that is also a good starter play. We usually send we can always send Albion to give you a setup, or we can also send Ad Libitum to have value in your next turn. And you can always send a card to give you follow-up for the following turns. And then Despian Quarities, or however you want to read it. This is a good card to bring out of Bruggenil, because this will have a blanket effect to your opponent's side of the field, turning all their monsters into 0 except for the level 8 or higher fusion monsters. So all their monsters' attacks become 0. And then also, if this card leaves the field, you can special summon a Fallen of Albaz from your deck, which will give you another interruption. And then I'll be on the Sanctifier. I've seen people play the Gimmick Puppet Lock with Sanctifier or the Ido Lock. I actually have Ido. Let me just grab it. I actually have Ido. I can play this card, but right now, since we're learning the deck, I don't really want to tunnel into that play, because that will limit me on the different lines that I could possibly learn. So right now I have Sanctifier here to summon out maybe Mirror Jade or any other interruptions, instead of having an idol to lock your opponent. So if I get to the point where I learn all the things that I must learn with the basics of the combo lines and the cycles with the cards, then I could always consider playing the Idol Lock. But right now, Sanctifier here is to give us more options to bring out like Mirror Jade back, or any other card that you want to bring out to your side of the field or to your opponent's side of the field. So we have that. We also have, oh, they should be here. Titanic Lad, also one of the cards you send off to give you follow-ups and more interruptions. And then the big guy, Guardian Chimera. This is the card that you will usually summon during your opponent's turn with Branded in red, because this will give you tons of interruption and also follow-up, because this will either give you a draw or pop. And aside from that, if you've used Ad Libitum, which is the usual combo that I go through, if you used Ad Libitum for the fusion, you can always bring back Mirror Jade and give you more value with it. So Mirror Jade is a soft once per turn. So having Mirror Jade banish one card and then bringing it back will give you another copy of Mirror Jade, which will allow you to do its effect again and banish one card non-targeting. So this is a broken combo in my opinion. That's just infinite interruption during opponent's turn. And for other fusion targets, usually I use this for the Super Poly, but aside from these, you can also go to these cards for your Super Poly. But for these two, this is a generic Dark plus Fusion, which is a negate on the field, and then Garura is a generic with same type and attribute but different names, which is not that difficult to achieve when your opponent's doing their combos. And aside from that, you can also use Garganua to send this, pitching this, giving you a draw. So yeah, that is the extra deck, which will sum up my Branded Despia deck profile. Again, I can't stress this out. As I mentioned, I'm still learning the deck, and now I'm enjoying the learning process. And yeah, that is my Branded Despia deck. I hope to hear from you guys if you have some suggestions on how it should be played or how the deck should be built. I would really appreciate it if you drop in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. And that's it, guys. Again, I cannot stress this out even more, but this is just my first time building the deck, so I'm gonna be expecting some backlash. But yeah, that is my Branded Despia deck profile. I'm gonna learn the deck and probably do a combo with you in the next video. Yeah, if you like this content, if you like seeing my deck profiles and anything Yu-Gi-Oh, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yep, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace out.